What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Scale News Update. If you're not familiar with the show, this is where we talk about the news topics that happened in the last week in the scale world of RC. Bunch of topics this week. Hit the like button and let's jump right into them. First, we have a new sway bar set for you associated DR10 owners. This will stiffen up your rear suspension, try and keep you going a little bit straighter when you're riding on the rear wheels. Yet another part for the DR10 to just keep rolling out. I am super surprised we have yet to see another no prep drag platform come out. These DR10s are definitely picking up momentum. I have to imagine that we're going to see other options popping up soon. But for now, Associated is just going to keep taking that lead and getting a run on the competition with these aftermarket parts. Next, another part for you DR10 owners, and that is a part from Jconcepts, and this is an aluminum rear motor cage. Now, the DR10 uses that rear motor cage to hold the wheelie bar mount. So bracing it up, making it more rigid out of aluminum rather than the molded plastic is a nice upgrade. Again, this is from Jconcepts, and they can be pretty slow though on the delivery of your stuff. When you place that order, if you place it with Jconcepts, get ready to wait. They seem to take orders then run production, or have a production batch coming in and then it ships out. Just, if that's the route you're gonna go, be prepared to wait. Next, the other day on Facebook, there was a post from Cisco Grove with an Axial Fest flag. Just a picture of that with a caption saying, "Who knows what this means?" And you never know. Is Horizon talking to Cisco Grove possibly going to bring Axial Fest back there next year? This year, after Donner being canceled for 2020 and having to be postponed till 2021, basically just meaning 2020 is canceled. Is Cisco Grove a possibility again? Personally, I thought the terrain and the vendor area was better at Donner, but I know that the camping was better at Cisco. The terrain is still good at Cisco, so that, still a great option. And the facilities in general with the pavilions and all of that, really nice at Cisco. So if it went back to Cisco, wouldn't be mad at all. Who knows if it has anything to do with it, or if just somebody at Cisco Grove was trying to build some content, making a Facebook post. Either way, it seemed like it worked. A bunch of comments on there. Lots of people would be really happy to see that happen. If you want to see the post, I'll link to it in the description below. You can, make an assumption for yourself. And also the links to the rest of today's stories are in there as well. Next, we had another release pop up from FTX, and this is the brushed Toro trophy truck. Now, this is a solid axle, independent front trophy truck style body over top of it. Normally, FTX is just rebrand of an RGT or one of those brands that you just see. They don't really develop anything themselves. They just choose cars, rebrand them. This one, I couldn't find the direct car that they likely rebranded, but I was just looking at the photos of this new car from them, and it looks like the absolute most minimally designed vehicle I've seen. I swear, you guys should take a look at the photos that they have of this vehicle. This thing looks like it will fold or break in no time. There is so little structure to this vehicle overall for something that's being called a trophy truck and is supposedly going to be driven hard. I'm so surprised, even with a brand like this, that this is something that seems to be good enough to put out. Take a look at it. You can make an assumption for yourself. But man, this thing looks flimsy. It's an inexpensive brushed car with a 550 can motor, so you can't expect too much, but I'm just surprised that they thought that this was good enough to put out for, being an RC brand even. If any of you can find other models that this vehicle is being rebranded from, I'd be interested to see those, maybe see if those were a little bit more established, have some more, feedback or anything like that. If you can find it, post them below in the comments. I'd love to check out what you found. Now let's talk about some tires from Jconcepts. We saw two new tires this week, both in the Class 1 category. First, we've got 4.19-inch Jconcepts Landmine tires. These are a fairly aggressive Class 1 legal tire. They look like they have a nice tread compound. I haven't used the Jconcepts Landmines in the previous larger size in the past yet, but they always look like they did fairly well. Never tried that compound myself. But these new 4.19s, again, look pretty good. Looks like they're probably hold up well. The foams that they're including, though, they're a star cut style foam. They have the little ridges cut around them. It's a thing that we used to do way back, and it kind of died off. Evidently, they're trying to bring it back with the included foams. Granted, it's just a single stage foam, likely a complete throwaway, but they're trying to add something in there. So if you're looking for a new competitive Class 1 option, this could be one to take a look at, maybe add to your shopping list. And next we have a second Class 1 legal tire from Jconcepts. This one likely not nearly as competitive. These are 3.93 inches or exactly 100 millimeters tall. And this is the Jconcepts Bounty Hunter. And it's got a more all-terrain style tread pattern rather than that competitive open compound that the landmines had. And they do have a very familiar one-to-one style. I couldn't remember exactly the tire that these were modeled after in the real world, but I know that I've seen them. I don't remember if it's a Mickey Thompson or which one specifically that it is. So this tire option, probably not for someone who's trying to be ultra competitive in Class 1. But if you have a build that's just looking for a smaller tire like this 100 millimeter size and you like the style, another one to add to your possible shopping cart. And then speaking of tires that likely aren't going to be very competitive, RC 4-Wheel Drive released some new 1.55 BFG KM2 mud terrain tires. These are only 3.84 inches tall, so even shorter than the previous one we talked about. But they've got that BFG style, which does look good. And the detail on these look fantastic. It is a 155, so if you're into 155 things, then performance probably isn't something you really care about anyway. I'm kidding, of course. I'm sure you have the tiniest of ledges that you're really aiming to go conquer. And of course, links to those new tires in the description below. You can go check them out for yourself, see more pictures of the detail that RC 4-Wheel Drive really put into those tires. Now let's talk about some ESCs. Associated released the new SC480X brushed crawler ESC. This is a new style compared to the ESC that they had been running. Previously, Associated had been using ESCs that were likely made by Hobbywing, and I believe they were based on the 1060 platform. This one though, not from Hobbywing. This looks to be based off of the Surpass line of ESCs. It's another manufacturer overseas that's known for doing, OEM style work. This looks like it's coming from them. This is bumped up a little bit on the spec side with an 80 amp overhead rather than the 60 amp that I believe that they were using previously. This is a fully programmable ESC with a separately available programming box. You'll be able to pick up that programming box from Associated, or likely if you have another Surpass-based ESC, you'll be able to use the one that you maybe likely already have. The specs on this ESC overall look to be pretty decent. It's got adjustable BECs, decent amperage in it, 80 amp capabilities for the actual motor outputs, and it has LED string outputs also. So a lot of the features that it ticks off compete directly with the Hobbywing stuff, but again, for a little bit more amperage overhead in this. And the cost on this is really cheap. I believe the retail on it's only around 30 bucks. I imagine that you're going to see this model start to go into all of their RTRs as well. They are likely changing over to a new manufacturer, and you'll probably see this throughout. You won't often see a lot of mixing and matching of using two different OEM manufacturers. So I would imagine you'll start to see this ESC just finding its way through their entire line as they sell out of batches and bring new ones in. And speaking of OEM ESCs, RC 4-Wheel Drive is releasing a new Outcry ESC. This is a brushed 80 amp ESC also. And I talked to RC 4-Wheel Drive about this a little bit, reached out and asked if this is a Hobbywing base, because it looks basically just like a Hobbywing 1080, but RC 4-Wheel Drive says that this is not just a Hobbywing and they're actually manufacturing it in one of their facilities. So supposedly it's not just a Hobbywing, although it looks very close. It is programmable with a programming card. Again, looks a lot like the Hobbywing, but again, the feature list on this thing, pretty stacked. Adjustable voltage on the BEC, decent amperage, nice output on the ESC amp-wise. Drag brakes adjustable, the whole deal, just like you would expect to see on any of these ESCs anymore. And honestly, for the price that you're able to get into some of these inexpensive brushed ESCs now, we're all pretty lucky to have these options. We never used to have ESCs that were this nice for this low of a price point. You can definitely get a vehicle up and running on the cheap and have some pretty decent performance. So you can check out either of these two ESCs, both of them, like the rest of the stories, linked in the description below. Let's bounce back again to a little bit of no prep. Proline finally released all of the details on that Barracuda body, so we can finally see all of their pictures, the decal sets that they've got, pricing, everything. Available now, you can go purchase that off of their website. And Proline offered me one of the coupon codes. So anything you go buy off of the Proline website, you can use the code Harley10, save yourself 10%, and it helps support my channel just a little bit. So if you're shopping for some BFG crawlers like me all of the time, use the code, throw it in there, or don't, just go buy yourself some tires anyway. Or you can go pick up some new Proline T-shirts because they just released a bunch of new designs there. And I didn't even realize that I was wearing one of their old ones until I actually started filming this episode. But they've got a bunch of new designs, some no prep specific ones, some kind of, 80s vibe, scrolly, bunch of different designs. Worth checking out if you're looking to go buy a t-shirt. If you're just wanting to rep some Proline, or maybe you're picking up a body and want to throw a t-shirt in on top, go for it. I think I'm gonna pick up one of the no prep versions myself. And for any of you DR10 owners, or any of you guys who just liked that React body that came on the DR10, you can pick up pre-painted versions of the orange or the green, but they also have an unpainted version in case you wanted to, replicate something you liked. Those bodies are actually starting to hit shop shelves, I've started to see myself. So if you wanted to replace the body that came on yours and you ended up hitting too many curbs, or just wanted to add that style to another vehicle, links in the description below. Towards the end of last week, we were supposed to see the release of that new laser nut car, but it looks like it got delayed a week. I was watching Cody Wagner's page on Facebook, and he had mentioned in there, kind of veiled, not very veiled. He's not saying it, but he's definitely saying it. That vehicle got delayed about a week from last week. I believe that we're gonna actually see it this week now. $479, you're gonna need your own battery and chargers. I'm still really looking forward to seeing this vehicle. And it was again confirmed that you're going to either be able to choose the white and blue version or the red and black version. Last Friday, during my Friday night live stream where we build a kit every week, I started my Red Cat Wendigo build. It came in towards the middle of last week and we cracked it open on Friday and started the build. Friday was my birthday, so we didn't end up going all the way through that thing, but we're gonna finish that up this Friday, kind of get that thing 100% wrapped up through the build. So far, everything was going pretty well. Had one little issue with getting an axle shaft through one of the steel insert tubes that are inside of those straight axles, but beyond that, everything else was rolling right along. It had some beefy rod ends, everything on it feels just upsized a little bit. So far, I was fairly impressed with Red Cat's first kit. The instructions were fairly clear, everything seemed to be laid out well, so for Red Cat's first kit, so far, so good. If you'd like to see how that thing ends up, you can check out the live build this Friday, 6 p.m. when I hope to finish that thing the rest of the way. And lastly, don't forget to enter for the 50,000 subscriber giveaway build that we're going to be doing based off the Element Enduro Builders Kit, and we're building a complete custom truck on top of it. So make sure and enter that link for the giveaway in the description below, and you can enter daily. Goal is to bring you back, watch more videos, of course. So as always, thanks to everyone who has already been entering and who has already been subscribed. Looking forward to hitting that 50,000 subscriber mark when we'll finally get to give that vehicle away. But that wraps up the news topics from this week. This week's question. Today I actually had a new 3D printer show up that I'm going to be putting together. Something that's a little bit different than the ones that I've had in the past. Kind of looking forward to some of the new features that this printer has, and I'll cover it in a video here in the upcoming week or so. For this week's question, I wanted to put out there, what was the last thing you purchased for the hobby that wasn't RC specifically? Like a 3D printer to print, RC related parts, but it wasn't actually a part for an RC car or an RC car itself. What was it? It's always interesting to see what you guys are purchasing. It's kind of fun to read what everyone else is looking to buy or researching, adding to their collection. Tools, things like that. I'm a sucker for specialty tools that you'll probably rarely ever use, or anything else. Drop them in the comments below. The question is always my most favorite part of every one of these videos. That's gonna do it for this week, guys. I hope you have an awesome rest of the week. Hit the like button before you leave, subscribe if you're not already, hit the notification bell so you see the videos as soon as they get uploaded. I have a bunch of videos coming this week. Another no prep cash days, a Trail King review video and driving video, this new 3D printer with other things as well, all kinds of fun stuff. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you guys next time.